When I met Daniel back in 3 years ago, 2022 time, that is where I start to plan my last lap. What my last lap meant is my last 10 years. So that is where I want to ensure that nothing will go wrong, predictable, controllable, and I no longer want to try and errors. So that is how I find that property investment is something that is going to be very secure and it's at your control.
I'm a realtor, obviously. I believe in property, right? Something you can touch, something that has inherent value. It's not like maybe equity or stocks where overnight the value might just drop. I mean, it can also go the other way, then hooray lah, but we will never know. It's so unpredictable. It can just suddenly drop to nothingness. But property is different. Everyone has a need for a place to stay. It will never lose its value. I mean, the piece, even if the house is gone, the piece of land is something, right?
So I will tell my friend the joke is like, if your father is rich enough, they will send you overseas. But my father is rich enough to send me over the bridge, over the river. It's one-way ticket. It's one-way ticket.
Wow.
So during the journey of traveling, leaving your home, your comfort place to a foreign place, okay, that make me realize a lot of things. Just for example, it's like when I'm taking bus across the causeway, especially, I see those pregnant lady carry pram and still have to carry herself into the bus cell. I tell myself this is something that I will not want my future wife or future family to go through. So all these observation, realization make me to take actions. To action. Also, of course, like what I have said in the beginning, that I'm not those smart. When you are not smart, that's where you will start to plan. You will worry about what if. What happened to you? Then if I also always claim myself as those as slow response. So I would like to take times to build. I like that. So I like to do something that slowly, and with all this combined, that will define who am I today. I think that's what to say. The past will define who you are in the future.
That's really powerful.
Yes.
And it also reminds me, when we see people like security guards or, I know the lady who is a security guard where we're living in. She travels to and fro Malaysia and Singapore daily. She got into an accident on a motorcycle, but once she's recovered, she's back. And I think, people would go the distance to chase their dreams if it's a better income, a better way of life for their kids. Yes. Let's shift gears a bit to talk about, what made us go all the way to the UK to invest? Why not here? What were your initial thoughts? Were you skeptical of it? And yeah.
Like what I say, if continue from what I've described earlier, so I always looking for something that is alternative investment. Okay, all right. So I have done many kinds. Okay, be it like bank offered products, okay, options, ELNs, equity linked notes, all this I have tried before. So this is where I realized that this is where we will start to realize that what is actually suitable for us itself. So for me, like what we all know that as time passes, our time, okay, and it's going to be shortened. So that's where, for me, I start to define what I would like to do next. So when I met Daniel back in 3 years ago, 2022 time, that is where I start to plan my last lap. What my last lap meant is my last 10 years. So that is where I want to ensure that nothing will go wrong, okay, predictable, controllable, and I no longer want to try and errors. Okay, so that is how I find that property investment is something that is going to be very secure, all right, and it's at your control. What it meant is like, as compared to if you buy equity or stocks. For example, one day if the CEO of the company make a wrong move, what happened? Political, geographical
or somebody
issue.
sends out a tweet.
Correct. So I no longer want to be affected by those. That's why I'm very clear in my next 10 years, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to embark and consolidate. So, yeah. So, why UK? I think I mentioned earlier before. I like to do something that I'm familiar with. I can understand. Okay, we inherit UK law. Our convincing, everything was quite similar. Then plus, like what I told Daniel, I actually remember, it's like, what I need is something that is to be guided, okay, not to repeat or make mistake. Because this is my last 10 years. I can't afford to do that itself. So, yeah. So everything come, I would say that I quite lucky. I found Daniel, all right, and guided through the mentorship. Then then the rest itself is up to us to make things happen already. All right.
Great.
So I get the question a lot actually. A lot of my clients and friends, families, they know I'm a realtor, right? So they will ask, hey, why you don't invest in Singapore? Why don't you why you go overseas, so dangerous? Why if there something happens overseas you can't really control and you can't touch and feel the place, for example. So I guess for me, we started slightly earlier in our lives. Like in our early 30s, we started to dabble in this. So I think back then we owned our home in Singapore, or it was a flat. We owned our home in Singapore. Then the thing is, because we were quite early in our journey, we didn't have a lot of savings. We didn't have a huge lump sum of money to go into the deposit for our next home. So it immediately came to us that we do believe in property. I mean, I'm a realtor, obviously. I believe in property, right? Something you can touch, something that has inherent value. It's not like maybe equity or stocks where overnight the value might just drop. I mean, it can also go the other way, then hooray lah, but we will never know. It's so unpredictable. It can just suddenly drop to nothingness. But property is different. Everyone has a need for a place to stay. It will never lose its value. I mean, the piece, even if the house is gone, the piece of land is something, right? So for me, it's I'm more traditional perhaps. I like something that's more stable, like KF mentioned, stable. So we also like UK because the laws, like he mentioned, is very similar. So a lot of knowledge that I have of the Singapore property market is very transferable. Yeah, but I was talking about I don't have a huge deposit kind of thing. So overseas property in the UK, I mean, depending on where you invest. Of course, if you invest in London, it'll be different. If you invest in maybe Liverpool, it's different prices. So we decided to go for maybe the slightly cheaper properties, the cheaper properties in the UK, where we could start off, learn how the process is before we buy more and more expensive properties. So for us, it was mainly because the quantum made sense. We are quite familiar with the laws there. And I think UK generally is quite a stable country. So yeah, that's why.
Right. Thanks for that, Joss. And KF, tell us a bit about the quantum. I'm sure our listeners would be, excited to know how much can you start with, or like how much capital do you need?
Yeah, so the first property I bought, I think a lot of my friends and my clients that I share this with, they're very shocked. So I told them, my first property is only about 70 Singapore dollars, 70,000, sorry, not 70, 70,000 Singapore dollars. Then you're like, huh? You can't even buy a HDB flat in Singapore with that price.
Or
Then
a
like,
car.
yeah.
Not even a COE.
Yeah, sorry, not even COE now. Yeah, exactly. So they get very shocked. I'm like, I started with something very small, very cheap in a way, for property since it's very cheap, so that if I make any mistake, it's, I learn here. I make all the mistakes I should make here. I learn my lessons here so that I can branch out and go into more expensive ones. Yeah, so...
And that was a buy-to-let in Durham, if I recall.
Yes.
It was a small house.
Yes.
What kind of yields are you getting across your portfolio?
Well, gross yield, I remember, is about 12%.
How about net?
Net, I think it's closer to 10 or 9 or 10.
Okay.
After taking away all the operating expenses, there's the letting fees and all that.
Yeah.
And certain repairs that insurance as well. So it's about 9 to 10% about
profit.
that. The tenant is still there. I just got the rent yesterday, like it's like payday like that. You see the money come in, like yay! Except that you didn't do anything, the money just comes in because it's rent, right? You don't actively work for it; it's passive.
Yeah.
So the tenant from 2018, so that's about 7 years ago. Same until now, no change.
Same tenant.
Awesome.
Oh my
Every
goodness.
month. There
Awesome.
were this entire 7 years. He has only missed 1 month, but he paid back already. So it's been so carefree for me.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I believe not just the same rent that you received in 2018, I believe there's increment as well.
Slight increment, yes.
Yes, correct. So that is the beauty of it. Also to in the financial term we call it is to beat the inflation.
Oh yes.
Correct. Yeah, I would like to add on about the quantum. I still remember Daniel said if you can afford to buy a car, you definitely can afford to buy a house in UK.
There you go.
Correct, Daniel? Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us a bit about the kind of net yields you're seeing across your portfolio, because I know you all own each now. I'm really proud of them, by the way. They all own multiple properties in the UK, generating thousands of passive income for their family. if you don't mind sharing, maybe what is the kind of average net yields? How much passive income are you getting every month? Yeah.
In general, the yield will be definitely is above 10, above 10 itself. And it will be vary, depend on the strategy. All right. So just now, Joyce, I think I had mentioned about BTL, buy to let. If, say, example, the next, if talking about social housing,
Right.
I think the yield will be definitely is better itself. With the guiding principle that what we learn in the class, in the mentorship itself, okay, will guide us to explore, to chance. Okay, for me, I would say that I'm a risk taker. I'm taking calculated risk kind of people. So what I mean is like as long the number makes sense itself. So for me, in average, my yield is about 13%. Net yield. Net yield is 13% after all the tax, all the expenses itself. Because there are certain part of my portfolio are social housing where I explore in the so-called, I would say, rural area. Cheaper property price, but can give you a yield. That's where I park all my social housing portfolio there. Okay, so in other words, is a layman, you will say that it's a cash cow. Okay, will generate the income itself. Okay, so as for capital appreciation of the house itself, is a bonus. If it appreciate, why not? But I know if we observe, I think most of the property in UK are 2-bedder or 3-bedder. Actually, the needs of the local itself actually more than that. So by doing conversion, like what I did for my social housing in those rural areas to become 4 beds or 5 beds itself, that eventually, if one day if I plan to sell it, liquid it in the market itself, I think there will be certain demand also. So these are those that we know the situation, we plan it accordingly, we add value, like what Daniel say, add value to the property itself. And while we are waiting for the day for the capital appreciation, at the same time we get paid every month through rents. And the rent are not consistent, and there is cater for inflation as well.
When you say not consistent, meaning it goes up over time.
Sorry, pardon for my words. It will go up. Meaning it will not be the same amount, but it will go up.
Right.
I think that's a happy moment itself.